Lieutenant Derek Vasquez raised his voice so it carried across the firing range. 5 bullseyes? You? His laugh was sharp, mocking. I'd bet my entire month's pay. You can't even keep the rifle steady, old man. The homeless veteran standing before him didn't reply. His rough, dirt-stained hands rested loosely at his sides. Dust clung to his tangled beard as the wind from camp. Leoin's outdoor range kicked sand against his battered boots. Vasquez stepped closer, lowering his voice just enough to make it crueler. And to make things interesting, you do it without blinking. 5 shots, 5 bullseyes, no blinking. Miss even once and you walk away with nothing. Soldiers and families gathered nearby. Some shifted uncomfortably. Others smirked, eager for entertainment. The homeless man glanced at the rifle Vasquez offered, then at the plate of food resting on a nearby table. He hadn't eaten in 2 days. After a moment, he nodded. All right. Marcus Callahan had lived beneath the I-95 bridge for 4 years. Each morning began with the hum of traffic overhead, vibrations shaking the concrete supports like a cruel metronome. Time never stopped moving even when his life had. Everything he owned fit inside a faded green military backpack, a cracked pair of tactical binoculars his commander had given him in 2010, a folded photo of his Force Reconnaissance team, and an empty coffee tin holding exactly $630. Marcus didn't beg. He didn't hassle anyone. When people passed, he nodded politely. When they ignored him, he understood. Being invisible hurt less than being judged. Most days, he walked 7 miles through Jacksonville, North Carolina, past the library, past the VA office that had placed him on an 18-month waiting list, past the diner where he used to eat breakfast before the money disappeared. Walking kept his mind busy, pushed the memories back. But on the morning of October 14th, Marcus changed direction. He headed toward Camp Lejeune. Another veteran near the overpass had told him about Family Day barbecue. Games, shooting demos, and most importantly, food. Maybe if he arrived quietly, kept his head down, someone would hand him leftovers. Sometimes that happened. The walk took an hour and a half. The soles of his donated boots were splitting open, sending dull pain up his legs with every step. He ignored it. Physical pain was easy. It was the other kind that haunted him. When he reached the base, the gates stood open. Families streamed inside. Children wore tiny Marine Corps t-shirts. Fathers hauled coolers. Mothers guided toddlers by the hand. Marcus stayed near the fence at first. He didn't belong here, not anymore. But hunger makes people brave, or desperate. He wasn't sure which one he was. As he edged closer, the smell of grilled meat hit him hard. Stomach clenched. Saturday, he hadn't eaten since Thursday. A young boy stared as Marcus passed. The boy's father noticed and gently pulled him closer, whispering something Marcus couldn't hear. Marcus didn't take offense. He knew how he looked: torn jacket, mud-stained jeans, weather-beaten face, and the long burned scar running down the right side of his neck. Fall 2004. A grenade. It's too close. Lucky to survive her, so they said. Lieutenant Derek Vasquez noticed him immediately. At 29, Vasquez was lean, sharp-featured, and perfectly groomed, everything a recruitment poster promised. He was Camp Lejeun's top-rated marksman instructor, a 3-time regional champion. His office walls overflowed with awards, and his ego demanded an audience. He set his coffee down and approached Marcus. Gravel crunching loudly beneath his boots. "Hey you," Vasquez called out. Marcus stopped. "You lost, pal?" Vasquez asked loudly enough for others to hear. Marcus shook his head. "No, sir. I was just wondering if there's any food left. I can take it to go. I won't cause trouble." Vasquez laughed. "Food? You want a handout?" He turned to the crowd. "This guy wants charity." Nervous laughter rippled through the onlookers. At a nearby table, Vasquez's wife, Emily, 7 months pregnant, tugged at his sleeve. "Derek, just let him have a plate." He ignored her. Circling Marcus slowly, Vasquez sneered. "Let me guess you were military. A Marine, right?" Marcus met his gaze. "Yes, sure you were," Vasquez scoffed. "And I'm a Navy SEAL." More laughter. Sergeant Ray Holder chimed in. "They all say that." Every homeless guy claims special forces. Vasquez folded his arms. Tell you what, old man, you want food? Marcus didn't react. Hope was dangerous. Vasquez pointed toward the range. 5 shots, 100 meters. 5 bullseyes in a row, and I'll give you a full plate. I'll even add $20. He paused, smiling cruelly. But you can't blink. Not once. The crowd fell silent. Captain Lisa Brennan watched from near the grill, arms crossed. Something about this felt wrong, but she waited. Marcus glanced from the targets to the food table. His hands trembled not from fear, but hunger. And if I miss? He asked. Vasquez shrugged. Then you walk away hungry and we all get a laugh. Marcus swallowed. All right, he said quietly. I'll do it. What he didn't know was that his name still existed in a database across the base. Tagged with a call sign whispered among snipers. Dasha handed him the M4 with exaggerated care. Don't drop it. It's worth more than you are. Marcus took the rifle. The weight was familiar. His hands moved with effortless precision, checking the chamber, seating the magazine, movements smooth and practiced. Muscle memory never forgets, Vasquez noticed. Smile flickered. You've held a rifle before? Marcus said nothing. He stepped to the firing line as the crowd formed a semicircle behind him. Phones came out. I muttered, this is going to be ugly. Emily stood apart, watching uneasily. Marcus knelt, adjusted his stance, angled his body, settled the rifle into his shoulder. His breathing slowed. The world faded away. Wind, left to right. 5 miles per hour. Adjustment made. He exhaled and fired. Crack, dead center. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Luck, Vasquez muttered. Second shot, bullseye, third. Perfect. The crowd went silent. Captain Brennan stepped forward, eyes narrowing. This wasn't chance. This was mastery. 4th shot. Bullseye. Not a single blink, Sergeant Holder whispered. Who is this guy? 5th round chambered. Marcus exhaled. Shot fired, dead center. 5 shots. Marcus lowered the rifle carefully and set it down. Then he turned to Vasquez. Can I have the meal now? Silenced. Then Holder noticed the tattoo on Marcus's forearm coordinates, faded, but unmistakable. And the words beneath. 5 rounds, 5 souls. His blood ran cold. Deadshot. He whispered. Louder now. Oh my God. You're Deadshot. Captain Brennan pulled up the file. Marcus Callahan, USMC Scout Sniper. Force Recon. Navy Cross recipient. 187 confirmed eliminations. Her hand rose in salute. Sir, we didn't know. Marcus shook his head. I'm not active, ma'am. But the crowd already knew, and Lieutenant Vasquez stood frozen as cruelty laid bare before everyone. Marcus waited quietly for his food. Asterisk. The crowd was still watching him, but not the same way as before. The pity was gone. So was the disgust. What replaced it was something harder to define. Respect, perhaps, even as Marcus didn't want any of it. All he wanted was to finish his meal without being stared at. After a few minutes, Captain Brennan approached the picnic table. She hesitated, then sat across from him without asking, careful not to intrude. She waited until he looked up. Mr. Callahan. Marcus set his fork down, still chewing. He swallowed. Yes, ma'am. I want to help you, she said quietly. I need to help you. Marcus picked his fork back up. I'm fine. With respect, sir, you're not, Brennan replied gently. You're living under a bridge. You haven't eaten in days. I'm surviving, Marcus interrupted softly. There's a difference. She leaned forward, her voice lowering. You shouldn't have to just survive, not after what you gave this country. I can get you into our priority veteran transition program. Housing safe, clean housing, medical care, mental health support, job placement. You shouldn't be out there. Marcus set the fork down again. His gaze drifted past her, toward the firing range and the target still standing. When he spoke, his voice was barely audible. Do you know why I left the service, Captain? Brennan shook her head. Helmand Province. November 2011, he said. My team was compromised. 5 Taliban fighters closing in. We were outnumbered. No air support. Radio failing. It was on me. His jaw tightened. So I took the shots. 5 rounds. 5 moving targets. All over 1,000 meters. I saved my team that day. Brennan stayed silent. 3 weeks later, Marcus continued, fists clenched on the table. We were ambushed. An IED hit our vehicle. I was thrown clear. Everyone else? Everyone else died. His voice broke. 6 good men. Husbands, fathers, and I lived. I was the one who was supposed to see everything, and I didn't see the bomb. Tears filled Brennan's eyes. That wasn't your fault. I know that, Marcus said, tapping his temple. Up here, I know it. But in here, he pressed a hand to his chest. I can't forgive myself. Every time I close my eyes, I see them. I hear it. And I don't know how to live with that. I don't know how to stand in front of people who call me a hero when I feel like a failure. The words hung between them. That's exactly why you need help, Brennan said softly. PTSD is real and it's treatable. Don't have to carry this alone. Marcus picked up his fork again, signaling the end of the conversation. I appreciate what you're trying to do, ma'am. Truly. But I'm not ready. When will you be ready? She asked. Marcus didn't answer. He just kept eating. When he finished, he stood slowly, joints stiff. Brennan stood too and held out a business card. Please, take this. In case you change your mind, Gah. Marcus stared at the card like it might explode. After a moment, he took it and slipped it into his jacket pocket. Thank you for the food, he said. And for your service? As he walked away, Brennan called after him. You're not forgotten. Not by me. When you're ready, we'll be here. Marcus nodded once and continued toward the gate. Sergeant Holder stopped him near the exit, holding a thick white envelope. Sir, please take this. Marcus shook his head. I can't. You earned it. I didn't do this for money. I did it for a meal. I got the meal. Holder followed him, desperate. Then what can I do? How can I help? Marcus stopped and looked at him. Really looked at him. Treat the next homeless veteran you see with respect. Marcus said firmly. Don't wait to learn who they were. Respect them because they served. Holder swallowed hard and nodded. Marcus walked out the gate. 30 feet behind him, partially hidden by a maintenance building, Emily Vasquez watched. She had heard everything. The guilt, the pain, the truth. She placed a hand on her belly and made a decision that night. She would tell Derek she needed space in that cruelty. It was not something she would allow their son to learn. The walk back to the I-95 bridge took an hour and a half. The sun dipped low, painting the sky in deep orange and purple. Cold crept in. Marcus settled under the concrete pillars and pulled out Brennan's card. On the back, written by hand, you're not forgotten. Call me when you're ready. He folded it carefully and tucked it near his heart that night. For the first time in months, he didn't dream of Helmand. He dreamed of a boy named Jacob Band in the dream. Marcus said yes when asked if he was a superhero. Over the next few days, the video spread everywhere. People came with food, blankets, clothes. Marcus accepted what he needed and declined the rest. On the 4th day, 2 men in suits arrived with an offer money status. A return to weapons. Marcus refused. I don't want to teach anyone to carry what I carry. That night, Sergeant Holder came not in uniform. Just a man bringing food. They talked. They sat. They understood. Weeks passed. Support continued. Cold nights gave way to change, and one morning, Marcus walked back to Camp Lejeune. I'm ready, he said. 6 months later, Marcus had an apartment, treatment, purpose. He taught Marines, not with words, but with example. Deadshot was no longer a ghost. In one warm spring afternoon, a boy ran up to him in a park and shouted, "You're still my hero." Marcus smiled. He finally believed it was okay to be more than what he'd survived.